Okay, let's just dive straight into this explainer covering the brand new Claude Code 2.1.191 release. They're officially calling this the Quality of Life Update, and honestly, that hits the nail on the head. This whole release is entirely focused on upgrading your daily command line experience. Because look, if you're spending hours every single day in the terminal, you know that those tiny little frictions, they totally add up to massive headaches. Well, this update is here to smooth all of that out.
We've got a lot of highly practical, ground-level stuff to cover today. So here's our roadmap. We'll start with the overall quality of life upgrades, then meet the new /rewind command. After that, we'll look at the faster and lighter performance tweaks, dig into some crucial fixes and MCP improvements, and finally wrap up with where you can go to learn more.
All right, Part 1, Quality of Life Upgrades. First up, let's establish exactly what kind of upgrade we're actually looking at here with version 2.1.19.
The source material makes one thing perfectly, absolutely clear. Quote, "There is no single headline. This is a broad quality-of-life release," end quote. So, you aren't going to find one massive, flashy new AI capability dropped in here. Instead, what you get is this collection of precision strikes against developer friction. It's designed to take the tool you're already using and just make it behave so much better.
Moving right along to Section 2, meet the /rewind command. Let's look at the actual tools you can use, starting with the literally only brand new user-facing command introduced in this entire release.
So, ever hit /clear and just immediately regret it? Yeah, we have all been there. You're deep into a complex problem, you accidentally type in execute /clear, and boom, gone. You just wiped your perfectly primed session. You lose all that carefully built context, and you instantly wish you could take it back. Well, now you actually can.
/rewind does exactly what it sounds like. It's a new command that resumes the conversation from the exact point just before your clear command was executed. I mean, it is essentially your ultimate undo button for those accidental session wipes. It's a super small addition, but man, it addresses a massive daily pain point.
Okay, Section 3, Faster and Lighter Performance. We're going to move under the hood now to look at some performance upgrades. You might not necessarily see these with your eyes, but you will absolutely feel them in how your machine runs.
The absolute standout metric here is this massive 37% reduction in CPU usage while Claude is streaming a response back to you. I mean, if you're coding on a laptop, that translates directly to less of that jet engine fan noise, a much cooler keyboard under your hands, and for sure significantly better battery life.
So how exactly did they achieve a 37% drop? Well, in the old streaming method, the terminal updated on every single tiny chunk of data it received. Now, Claude Code actually coalesces those text updates into 100 millisecond intervals. By simply changing how frequently the text updates on the screen, your machine isn't sweating nearly as hard to render everything. And the best part? It happens so fast you won't even notice. The actual response looks exactly the same to your eye.
Pair that CPU drop with a fix to the terminal output cache, which reduces memory growth during long sessions. Before, memory usage could kind of creep up on you over time. Actually, scratch that. It could aggressively balloon on you. Now, this fix stops that creep in its tracks, so your memory footprint stays in check during those marathon coding sessions, and your terminal stays just as snappy at hour 8 as it was at hour 1.
Which brings us to Section 4, Fixes and MCP Improvements. We're going to rapidly sweep through some critical bug fixes and upgrades to the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
All right, here are 3 major workflow blockers that have just been permanently resolved. First, those background agents that were quietly restarting after you supposedly stopped them from the tasks panel. Yeah, stopping one is now actually permanent. Second, if you use hooks with comma-separated event matchers, like trying to list Bash and PowerShell together, they used to silently fail. Not anymore. They fire correctly now. And third, the Permissions tab for recently denied items will finally persist your approvals when you close it, rather than just annoyingly discarding them.
On the terminal and UI side, it's all about squashing those daily annoyances. The /voice command now clearly explains when it's disabled by an organizational policy, rather than just throwing a generic error at you. The sandbox network permission dialog is vastly improved too. It remembers the hosts you approved for the rest of your session. No more tedious reprompting. Plus, the login URL no longer truncates in Windows Terminal, and your standard command click finally works perfectly on links in full-screen Ghosty over SSH or TMUX.
Now, when it comes to MCP reliability, capability discovery just got a massive upgrade. Let's say a call like tools/list or resources/list hits a brief network hiccup. Step 1, that transient network error occurs. But instead of just failing and giving up right then and there, Step 2 kicks in, initiating a short backoff period. Then, Step 3, the system automatically retries. It's a simple logical flow, but it makes your tool integrations incredibly resilient.
OAuth Discovery also benefits from a similar retry mechanic now. But what's really cool is how it handles different environments. If you're running in a standard environment, it retries OAuth requests and pops open the browser like normal. But in a headless environment, where a browser pop-up is literally impossible, it recognizes that, skips the pop-up attempt entirely, and goes straight into a paste the URL prompt. Just really smart contextual design.
Rounding out the fixes, we have a quick list of under-the-radar polish. The Claude Agents command won't send your built-in / commands as literal prompt text to background sessions anymore. Thank goodness. Also, if you have images in agent job rows, you don't get that messy full file system path cluttering things up. You get clean image number n placeholders. The welcome splash art actually fits inside a standard 80 by 24 macOS terminal window now. And for you power users, HTTP 404s will show the failed URL and point you straight to your MCP config file to fix it, while enterprise managed settings now properly force remote settings to refresh without serving you a stale cache. The whole shebang is exceptionally clean now.
Which takes us to our final section, where to learn more. We've definitely sprinted through the highlights of this quality of life update, but as always, there's a bit more to explore.
To understand exactly how these pieces might fit into your specific daily workflow, you're going to want to visit cloudmaster.net for the manual. And if you're the type who wants to read the line-by-line details of every single tweak, just head over to the official Claude Code repository on GitHub for the complete changelog.
Since this entire explainer has been all about removing those tiny little hurdles in your CLI workflow, I want to leave you with this. Which of these friction-removing updates is going to save you the most time today? Is it the huge CPU drop? Finally getting your hooks to fire correctly? Or just the absolute peace of mind knowing that the rewind command is sitting there, ready to save you from yourself? Keep that in mind as you fire up your terminal today. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.